back, my dear students. In the last class, we discussed some of the aspects related to motivation. We discussed one of the theories of motivation, that is need hierarchy theory of motivation given by Abraham Maslow. There, he classifies the needs of an employee into 5 categories, and that is physiological needs, second one safety and security needs, third one social needs, fourth one esteem needs, and the fifth one self-actualization needs. And we discussed so many aspects regarding each and every need, how important it is for an employee and what are the positive and negative sides of this particular theory. Later on, we discussed something about the incentives given by the company to motivate the employees in the financial nature or in the non-financial nature. Financial incentives like increased pay, increments, then profit sharing, bonus sharing, giving commission to the employees and giving stock option plan, as well as non-financial incentives like status, then organizational climate, job satisfaction, opportunity to participation in decision making process and job enrichment. These are the various financial and non-financial incentives. Okay. Today, we will deal with the third element of direction, that is leadership. Okay. The word leadership is known to everyone. Right from your childhood or right from the first day or first year of your student life, you have seen so many leaders, maybe bench leader to submit the given homework, maybe class leader to monitor or mind the discipline of the class, maybe school leader or maybe college president or maybe union leader or any kind of a leader, right? So, who is a leader? A leader is a person who influences the behavior of others, right? The person who influences the behavior of others is called as a leader, right? In our environment or in the society, we find different leaders, maybe political leader. For example, MLAs, MPs, Chief Minister, Prime Minister, they are examples of a political leader, right? No one compels us to follow a political leader, but his personality, his thoughts, his contribution for the development of the nation, his contribution in the matter of taking all the citizens unity, that matters a lot in following, right? Knowingly or unknowingly, we follow the leader, right? There may be spiritual leaders. They are always engaged in educating people regarding how to be happy, how to maintain the relationship, how to avoid or how to face the problems in life, right? They continuously go on educating people, and if we really find that whatever they tell or whatever they say is practical in nature and that is the only way to be happy, then we follow them, right? For example, maybe Sadhguru or Mata Amritanandamayi or Baba Ramdev, and there are several such spiritual leaders in and around us, right? And take an example of a teacher. Teacher is also a leader, right? The personality, the thinking, the lifestyle of a teacher, it impresses you. During the career of a teacher, he or she continuously go on interacting with the thousands of students. May not be every student is influenced because of the personality or thoughts of a teacher, but there are good number of students who really consider that the personality or the thinking of the teacher is really valuable, and because of the values of a teacher, today they are able to achieve something, right? So that itself is a greatest gift for a teacher. So you start follow the teacher, maybe his discipline, maybe his dedication, maybe his subject knowledge or any other matter, maybe the way he builds up relationship with the students, and you consider your teacher as a friend, a philosopher and as a guide, right? So therefore, here we are restricting our discussion a leader who is often found in companies or organization. Okay. In the chapter organization, we have studied that the total work to be done by the company is divided into various jobs and departments are made, maybe production, maybe human resource or finance or marketing or research and development or any other, depending upon the nature of the product. And the manager or the head of the production department will be considered as a leader for all the employees working under him. Okay. Therefore, the relationship of leader or the follower, leader and the subordinate is decided by organization structure. Okay. Therefore, here we are dealing with the leadership concept which is originated because of a job or the responsibilities to be performed in the workplace. Okay. So what is the meaning of leadership? So here leadership means a process of influencing the behavior of people towards achievement of organizational goal. It is a process of influencing the behavior of people, influencing the behavior of a subordinate. The leader continuously he goes on influencing the behavior of subordinate for what? For not his personal interest but to achieve the organizational objective. For example, say the production department has a target of producing 1000 units, okay, producing 1000 units per day. If 1000 units to be produced, then not only machinery capacity is important, but also the capacity or talent of people to handle the resources is much more important, right? Therefore, the capacity of individual that contributes a lot in achieving the organizational goal. Therefore, to produce 1000 units per day, what is important? Every employee compulsorily has to attend his work. There shouldn't be any absenteeism. Okay. Then after coming to the workplace, he shouldn't think about his personal problems. He should forget his personal problems and he should concentrate only on the work to be completed. He should use his own talent, every capability for completion of the given task, right? And the successful day will be that day, okay? Successful day will be that day where he reaches the day-to-day target by the evening, right? So therefore, producing 1000 units or achieving the given target is more important, and achieving target is done by leader by influencing the behavior of subordinates. Okay. There are several definitions given by various management experts. Here I am going to quote one definition amongst those. One is definition given by Coons, O'Donnell and Weirich. They say that leadership is the art or process of influencing people so that they will strive willingly and enthusiastically towards the achievement of goals. Okay. So the first and foremost important thing is that leadership is the art. Okay. It is the art or process of influencing people. In the first chapter, we have studied fundamentals of management. There we studied management is art, management is science and management is both art and science. So, the artistic capabilities of a leader. So, it is not enough if he knows the theoretical or practical concepts related to a job, how to perform it, how to solve the problems, but the capacity to communicate, the capacity to convince the subordinates is much more important, right? So, therefore, leadership is an art or it is a process of influencing people, right? Therefore, we should use every possibility or every path to convince or to influence the subordinates so that they contribute maximum, they excel well in their job, right? So, influencing people so that they will strive willingly, A student forcibly prepares for the examination, okay? Somebody is forcing, maybe the parent is forcing or the teachers are forcing him to prepare for the examination and then writes, what is the result? He will not utilize his capacity and he will not write examination wholeheartedly. His intention definitely will not be scoring maximum. He will not repent for committing any mistakes while writing the answers, right? So, he is not willing to perform and he is performing for the external forces. But a student who is really willing to score well, who is really willing to become number one in the class, then he will read on his own. He will prepare his own notes. He will work out all the problems or given homework. His notes will be always up to date. He will contact continuously lecturers for clarifying his doubts. Even if a single mistake is done, he will repent for it, right? So, that is the difference between willingly we are doing and we are doing work just for the sake of doing, right? So, therefore, here the employees, they should do work willingly, they should contribute 100%. Physical and mental presence is much more important here. So, process of influencing people so that they will strive willingly and enthusiastically. Every day is a new day. Every experience is a new experience. Every situation is a new situation. Therefore, there should be interest in doing the work or performing the work. So, therefore, they should do the work enthusiastically towards the achievement of goal. Okay. What is the goal? Maybe preparing or manufacturing 100,000 units, or maybe manufacturing quality units, or maybe doing research, new research, or maybe doing innovative product design or whatever, okay. Goal as per the company's requirements, that goal has to be fulfilled and the process of influencing work is done by leader, okay. Depending upon the meaning and definition of leadership, let us draw some of the characteristic features of leadership. The first characteristic feature is that leadership is ability to influence others, okay. The ability to influence others' behavior is called as leadership. Sometimes because of self-motivation, what we do, we motivate ourselves, we lead ourselves, right? But here, we have given the responsibility of influencing the behavior of others. A leader is given a team of subordinates. Say for example, 10 workers are working in a team, okay, and Mr. A is given the responsibility of influencing the behavior of 10 employees. The expectations of 10 employees definitely differ from one employee to another employee. In the last concept, motivation, we have studied lot many things regarding this, right? What motivates one person definitely will not motivate another person, right? And individually, goals of employee are totally different. They do not match with the goals of another employee, right? So, therefore, the responsibility of a leader is influencing the behavior so that the personal interest of the employee is converted into organizational interest. Okay. So, that is influencing others. And the second one tries to bring changes in the behavior. The leader always tries to bring changes in the behavior. What type of changes? From negative, the employee should move towards positive changes. For example, consider one employee is attending office 15 minutes late. So, after so many instructions or orders or threats continuously, the employee is attending office 15 minutes late. Then the responsibility is given to the leader. Change his behavior, convince him why dedication or timely presence of the employee is important, what matters. Then what are the benefits of being disciplined always, right? So, therefore, by continuous interaction with the employee, the leader must be able to change his attitude, and the result is that the employee starts attending the office on time, right? He will not be late even for a single minute. So, that kind of changes has to be brought by the leader by continuous interaction and because of his influence. And then the third one is indicates interpersonal relationships. Okay. So, if we are working in front of a computer, then the computer has no life. Okay. It is not having the capacity of responding to us, right. Whatever the software inserted while purchasing, it will react accordingly. But it is not so in case of human beings, right. So, here leadership, a leader continuously he interacts with the employees. Employees means basically they are human beings. So, interaction between people happens here. So, whenever we interact, then we try to understand their personality, their likes, their dislikes, their family background, right, then their social background, their educational background, their taste, their friendship group, then the involvement in informal group, everything matters a lot in understanding a particular human being, right. So, if one employee is behaving in a certain way, then to understand why he is behaving so, to understand the root cause of the problem, in that all these understanding taste, preferences or background helps a lot, right. So, here because of continuous communication, leader interacts with the subordinates. So, therefore, here interpersonal relationship will be built up. Therefore, leader is always considered as a friend, a philosopher as well as a guide. Okay. Then leadership is exercised to achieve common goals. What is the objective behind influencing? What is the objective behind understanding others, right? So, the objective is achieving organizational goals. Already top management has given the vision statement. Vision means what we want to become in future, okay, not in the near future, but in the far future. Okay. We have to become number one in the market. Becoming number one is not that easy. It is not the job of one day or 1 year or 2 years, but it is a everyday process. Okay. They have to work continuously until they reach to the position of number one, and then also they continue to do the same to maintain the number one position. So, it is a lifelong process. As we breathe continuously, right, we breathe till we are alive. If we stop breathing, then definitely we will be no more in the world, right. Therefore, here what is the objective of influencing? Achieving the common goals of the organization. Every employee may be working in the lower level or middle level or top level. Along with his leader, they have to contribute maximum for the achievement of organizational goals. Okay. These are the characteristic features. Generally, what do you mean by characteristic features? What exactly the concept is? It explains what exactly the concept is. Okay. Then why leadership is important? What is the importance of leadership in achieving organizational goals or in a company's performance? Okay. The first aspect is leadership always it inspires employees. Maybe because of the instructions or guidance or the orders or because of the communication or because of the task given or because of the target work given, whatever, the leader continuously he goes on influencing his subordinates. Therefore, leadership only it helps to inspire the group of subordinates. Okay. Then it is a psychological concept. Psychological concept means, as I told earlier, in leadership what happens? There will be human relationship between employee as well as, leader as well as the subordinates. Therefore, definitely everyone will understanding one another's likes, dislikes, their mentality, what is expected, what motivates, what not motivates, what is the strength, what is the weakness, right. So, therefore, a leader always will be a friend, will be a guide, will be a philosopher, right. Then the subordinates start trusting him. Whenever we trust, then we feel comfortable, right. We feel that we have received some power to face the problem, right. We feel ourselves secured, right. We trust God, right. Why we trust God? Whenever we are facing some complex situation in life, then the unusual power or unseen power called God, it will give energy or strength to face the situation. But leader here is a role model to us. He always interacts with us. Therefore, he gives the strength to face any complex situation. He builds courage, he builds confidence, and therefore, it is giving psychological support. Okay. Then, helps in implementing changes. Right from the first chapter, we have been told that change is necessary. Maybe the management concepts, maybe planning, maybe organizing, maybe the different principles of management, everything aims at adjusting to the changes, right. Changes taken place inside the company or outside the company, okay, whatever the change, adjusting to the change is very much essential, and that is the only way for survival of company as well as the employees, right. So, therefore, if we have to adjust to the new situation, then the leadership plays a vital role in convincing why change is necessary, why we have to accept it, right. The fear whatever we have in our mind, maybe not understanding the technology, or maybe fear of losing job, or maybe fear of position, fear of losing the position, or maybe fear of demotion, or maybe fear of withdrawal of any financial benefits that whatever we are getting now, okay. Any fear will be eliminated by the leader. Therefore, he prepares us mentally to face the changes, okay. That is one of the importance of leadership. And leadership helps to handle conflicts effectively, okay. There are different types of conflicts. Whenever you go to the higher studies, there is a subject called organizational behavior. In that subject, you study in detail regarding conflict. Mismatch of thinking is generally considered as conflict. Conflict is normally between two or more people. Sometimes the conflict may be inside one person, okay. One angle says that we have to do it, another angle says we shouldn't do it, right. Whether to attend the function or not to attend the function, right. Whether to do the work or not to do the work, we have so many confusions within us. There is conflict between two people or two or more people. Whenever there is a group, then generally there is more scope for conflict. Mr. A is not agreeing with the opinion of Mr. B, right? Whenever we are working in a group, then holding conflict is not important, but removing all those conflict, disagreements and coming or compromising with one another for the good cause. What is the good cause? Good cause is achieving organization goals. That makes much more important. Therefore, a leader always handles conflicts whatever arised in his team very effectively. Okay, that resolving conflicts is done by continuous counseling, continuous interaction individually or in a group with the group members, right? He uses every technique. He shows his capabilities of convincing explanation, and he uses his experience, everything, and finally he will be able to solve all the conflicts, and he will be able to take the group towards achieving organizational goals. Okay, and the last one, development of individual, right? It is not important to join the organization or a company for the sake of salary. After joining, we have to use the human resource inside us effectively. Generally, I observe the difference between an employee who is working in a government sector and employee working in private sector. In private sector, it is mandatory or it is inevitable to use the talents, but in government sector generally, even though there is scope, some situations become obstacle in using the resources. Whatever the resource, human resource or non-human resource, that will not be utilized effectively. So, whatever in an organization or in a company, after joining or after becoming part of the company, it is the duty of every employee to use his talent, his capability, his skill to the maximum extent possible, right? A person who has joined as a clerk, after some years he should become officer, then later on deputy manager, then manager, then general manager, right? So, he should go on raising. If he has to rise, then what is important? Showing his capabilities, developing his personality or developing his personal traits is much more important, and this job of identification of talents of the employee and giving a platform for its development is done by a leader. Okay? So, therefore, leadership is much more important from the following points, that is, leadership always inspires employees, then it gives a kind of psychological support, then it helps in implementing changes, then it handles conflict effectively, then it always develops the talents of individual. Okay. Then next, we will discuss something about qualities of a leader. We know who is a leader, what is his importance in the organization, then how a leader should be. As I said just now, you have seen so many leaders, maybe in the field of politics or spiritual field, or for youngsters generally film stars are role models, maybe a sports person or cricket player or kabaddi player or volleyball player or chess player or any other person is a role model. Okay. Whenever we consider some personality as a role model, then he is considered as a leader. Okay. So, what are the qualities of a leader? The first and foremost quality is physical features, qualities of a leader. The first quality is physical feature. Physical features in the sense, he should have good height, good weight, as well as good health, right? His physical presence, the way he dresses, that makes much more difference. So, the person who dresses up neatly will be accepted easily, right? Generally in the classroom we say, if the students come with the non-ironed shirt, or if they attend the classes without combing their hair properly, then we warn the students. Why a teacher warns? Because it should become a practice to dress himself very neatly. Have you seen any agent who is working in any marketing section? How they dress up? They dress up very neatly, right? By looking at the dress, the way you dress, the way you present, that becomes first impression. First impression should be always a good impression, right? Therefore, he should have good health, good height, good weight. That is one of the first foremost quality. If he is not healthy, health means here physical health as well as mental health. Physical health is also important, mental health is also important. If a person is continuously suffering from so many diseases, then to what an extent he will be able to attend office, he will not be able, right? He will be continuously going on medical leaves. Then the work or the responsibility, whatever needed to be done by him, becomes pending, right? And he should have mental health also, right? Therefore, here we are talking about health, that is physical health, as well as his physical appearance, the way he dressed, the way he presents himself, okay? And the second one is knowledge. Knowledge of what? The manager of a production department is expected to have 100% knowledge of the production work, right? If he is not having substantial knowledge or required knowledge of production department, then he is unfit to be a manager. Because whatever the problem comes, it is the responsibility of the manager to solve it. If he is not able to solve, then he should give suggestions what exactly is the problem and what should be done, and it can be then further referred to the top authorities, okay? If he is not having knowledge about finance department or research and development department, marketing department, then it is acceptable, okay? A human being cannot know about everything, because knowledge is like a sea. Can we measure the water of sea? Not possible, right? Can we measure its depth and length? Not possible. Same way knowledge. There are millions of together issues or aspects, and it is not possible to know about each and everything. But a leader should know about the work which he is doing. Then only he can guide, then only he can instruct, then only he can solve the problems. Otherwise, it is not possible, okay? Therefore, knowledge is having knowledge about the work. That is second important characteristic feature of a leader. And the third one is integrity. So, a leader should possess high level of integrity and honesty. A leader must be honest in his work. If I am honest, then I can question someone if they are dishonest, right? If I am a disciplined person, then I can question some others for their indiscipline. Otherwise, I do not have any moral right to question. So, to guide or to punish or to instruct or to influence, first and foremost, the leader should have integrity. He must have honest, okay? And his actions, his thoughts, his behavior should match 100% for his words. He should be as exactly as what he speaks, right? His actions and his words should match always. And the fourth one is initiative. To perform the given task, somebody should take the initiative. You might have seen group discussion. Group discussion is one of the techniques of conducting interview. In group discussion, what happens? One topic is given to a team, and a team of 5 or 6 candidates, they start discussing. somebody should start first, right? The person who starts the topic or the discussion is considered as a person who has good leadership quality, okay? Somebody should take initiative. Whenever the work is given, then somebody has to take initiative, and it is a duty of a leader to take initiative. He can't wait the subordinates, let them start first, let them take the responsibility, then I will tell whether to do it or not to do it, whether they are right, whether they are wrong, okay? It is not possible. So, it is the duty of a leader to take initiative in every situation. Then the next one is communication skill. It is very, very important, having communication skills. The person who has good communication skill only is possible to influence others. If I want to influence you, your behavior, then the way how I talk, the way how I use the words, the way how I use the tone becomes much more important, right? So, therefore, how to communicate with the subordinates, that must be well known to the leader. Therefore, that is one of the characteristic features of a good leader. So, he should understand the ideas, thoughts of the subordinates, and he should communicate the ideas, instructions given by the top management to the lower management. So, therefore, convincing capacity, everything comes in communication. And the next one is motivation skills. So, it is the duty of a leader to motivate the subordinates continuously every day. For every work, for every action, motivation is needed, right? If there is no motivation, then every employee may not be able to contribute maximum, right? There are few employees who are self-motivated. A person who has attained the stage of self-realization only will start working on his own, but rest of the employees, they need some back support or psychological support called motivation, right? So, therefore, it is the duty of a leader to motivate his subordinates, and he can use any technique depending upon the situation, may be financial or non-financial or whatever he feels comfortable. Then the next quality of leader is self-confidence. Before I trust you, I should trust myself. Whenever I trust myself, then only I will be able to perform, right? You might have observed speech competition is conducted during college day. Some students, they stand in front of the audience and they start shivering, right? Actually, they have prepared well for the competition, but in that moment, they become blank and they simply stand, they grumble, they search for words, and finally, they finish their speech. Why it happens? Because they don't believe on themselves. They do not have self-confidence. They don't have confidence of facing some audience, right? In our life also, to face the problems, first we should have confidence on ourselves. How we gain confidence on ourselves? We should conduct our own SWOT analysis rather than commenting on others. Rather than identifying the talent of others, first we have to try to find out what we are, what is our strength, what is our weakness, what is opportunity to us and what is threat to us, what I can do, what are the limits. Every human being has their own limits, right? So, first and foremost, I should understand what I am, right? Then only I may be able to perform, I may be able to lead the team, I may be able to lead or influence others. If I do not believe on me, then there is no point in believing others, okay? Therefore, self-confidence is one of the important quality of a leader, and then decisiveness or decision-making capacity. A leader is one who decides what to do, when to do, how to do, what not to do, right? When the subordinates are in confusion, whether they are moving on the right path or not, which option to be selected for a better outcome, for better efficiency or effectiveness, then it is the duty of the leader to suggest or to help in decision making. Therefore, a leader in any complex situation should be able to take decisions and to solve the problems faced by the subordinates. And the last one is social skills. There are two personalities, introvert and extrovert. Introvert, they will not mingle with others, they do not talk much, they do not have friends, okay. They do not share their feelings with others. Whereas extrovert, they mingle with others, they are fond of friends, they always enjoy the company of people, right. A person who is not having any social skills, a person who is not willing to fall in a group definitely cannot become a leader, right. He should have social skills. You might have observed LIC agents. The way they talk, the way they behave, that makes you to enter into LIC agreement, right. Even though you are not willing to purchase LIC policy, by listening to their words, the way they project the risk, life risk, okay, then you think of taking one more policy. Even though you have 10 to 15 policies with you, you think of purchasing one more, okay, let me have one more so that my family members are secured, right. It is the capacity of the salesperson. He is very much effective, right. He makes friends and he contacts even though he is unknown to you, right. Some people have the capacity of talking to unknown people very friendly. Whenever you go to shops, then you can make difference. Some salespersons are very effective, whereas some salespersons are not effective. You feel like not to purchase anything in the shop and you just come out without any transactions, right. So therefore, a leader should always have social skills and he should continuously interact with the people, that is subordinates, and these are the qualities of a leader, which are physical features, knowledge about the work whatever he is doing, then integrity, that means he should be honest, then he should take initiative, then he should have good communication skills, he should have motivation skills, he should have self-confidence, and decision making capacity he should have, and he should possess social skill, okay. The last part of this class, that is types of or styles of leadership. Which are the various styles of leadership? We know that leadership is an important fact. The presence of leader makes lot of difference in the achievement of organizational goals. Then how to lead the team? Which are the various techniques used in leading the team? That is a leadership style. Generally, we find 3 different leadership style. One is autocratic or authoritarian leadership style. Second one is democratic or participative leadership style. Democratic or participative leadership style. And the third one is laissez-faire or free rein leadership style. These are the 3 different styles of leadership which are adopted by leaders. The first one, autocratic or authoritarian leadership style. Here, the personality of the leader will be dominant. You might have seen dominant personalities, maybe in your family or maybe in your school or colleges or outside. In your friendship circle, some friends are dominant in nature. Okay? The dominant person always, he believes that whatever he says is right and others, they should follow him. Here, the nature of authoritarian leader is also the same. He gives orders, he gives instructions, and it is the duty of the subordinate to just follow it. The subordinates are not given any opportunity to express their viewpoints, to express their suggestions, and he always believes that he is the best person. He knows everything, and subordinates, their duty is to just follow. They do not have the capacity of decision making. They do not have the capacity of contributing something towards the goal of the company. Okay. When you turn the pages of history, you find a person called Hitler. Hitler is the best example for autocratic style or authoritarian style, right? Whatever he said was correct for him, even though it is right or wrong. No one was supposed to question him, right? Every citizen of the country had to follow the orders given by him. Okay? There was no scope for opinion, there was no scope for feelings of others, and same thing happens in authoritarian or autocratic style of leadership. Viewpoints, values, experience, suggestions of the subordinates is not at all valued. Whatever instructed by the leader has to be followed by the subordinate. Okay. The second category is democratic or participative leadership style. Democratic, we know well because we are the citizens of India, right? Indian political system is democratic system where people are given important place in deciding who should govern, who should lead the country, right? Even a single vote matters a lot during elections, right? Therefore, in a democratic style of leadership, what happens? The leader gives importance to the suggestions, values, experience of the subordinates. Whenever they work regarding the given project or given work, then leader asks for the ideas, viewpoints of the subordinates. Okay. Subordinates also participate in decision making. Then that style is called democratic style of leadership. Okay. So many organizations like Indra Nooyi of PepsiCo company is one of the best examples for democratic or participative style of leadership, where importance to the subordinates or viewpoints, suggestions, ideas of subordinates also given much more importance, and the employees working there, they are always happy, they have job satisfaction, and there is a psychological connection between the leader as well as a subordinate. Okay. There are so many examples for democratic or participative style of leadership, and Bill George of Honeywell Computers is also one of the best example for democratic style of leadership, where it is best suited. It is suited like companies producing pharmaceutical products, hospital, lab, their democratic style of leadership can be followed, because here just following the orders and instructions is not sufficient, because even after giving the instructions, when they start working, then some problem may arise. Okay? And the subordinate will be able to explain what exactly is the problem and what is to be done, how to improve the situation, right. So, therefore, here in this kind of companies, democratic style of leadership is best suited. And the third one is free rein leadership style. Here what happens, the leader is completely isolated, okay. The whole responsibility is given to the team members. The work is allotted, it is their duty to work on it. They have to decide, they should decide who has to do, how to distribute the work, they have to solve the problem, they have to face every complex situation. When the situation is out of control, if they are really not able to manage, then they consult the leader. Then it is the duty of the leader to assist them, to help them in solving the problems. To apply this kind of leadership style, the capacity of the subordinate is much more important. It can be applied only when the team members or the subordinates, they have good skills, or they have the decision making capacity, or they are self motivated, then only this kind of leadership style can be applied. Therefore, individually motivated or self motivated, then the subordinates who are ready to take initiative, then if they are ready to face the risk, that kind of situation helps to apply free rein or laissez-faire style of leadership. Okay. Therefore, any of the leadership style, it is applicable depending upon the situation. Okay. So, situation matters a lot in deciding whether to apply autocratic style or democratic style or free rein style of leadership, and as well as the nature of the product, the nature or the capacity of the subordinate also means a lot in deciding the particular leadership style. Okay. So, here we come to an end of this concept, that is leadership. Here we discussed what is leadership, then what is the definition of leadership, what are the features of leadership, then what is importance of leadership, what are the qualities of a good leader, and what are the three different styles of leadership. In the next class, we will discuss about the last element of chapter directing, that is communication. Okay. Thank you very much.